Yes. So the song, the Neverending Story, the song.
Drew's favorite. He got married to it.
Yes, that's true.
No, that's not true.
I wish.
Missed opportunity.
A great idea. Shit, we're gonna have to get remarried.
Just so he can renew.
Oh, I have a question for the panel, for my esteemed colleagues. We talk about the puppets and everything. And if you read reviews from the time, people were kind of dismissive of the movie as just like a special effects extravaganza. But it's like you watch it today and you're like, you had no idea what you lived in paradise and you didn't know what you had.
Oh, right.
In not appreciating the practical effects and the animatronics and the production design and all that. So I know this is a difficult question to answer, but like, what today is getting made that we won't appreciate until like 30 years from now?
That's impossible. Stranger Things, you jerk. Well, I mean, because for the reason computers aren't going to not exist later. Maybe because our movies are not too overly saturated with de-aged actors who've already passed their prime, so we're repurposing them. Maybe in the future, everything will just be actors that have already existed, de-aged, and
I think that's it.
I think I've nailed it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh God! Remember when we had real people in movies?
Right. Remember when it's truly like
Remember
no one
when
can
AI
rise
didn't
up.
write movies?
No actors can get any more gigs because we've just figured out how to use all of our favorites for the rest of our life. Oh, I've discovered it. Oh, this power is too hard for me to wield alone.
Yeah, I think you might be right. I was gonna say, Drew said earlier he doesn't watch much TV, and I'm kind of the same way. Like, well, but movies. I know I've like dismissed like every good TV show, saying like this should have just been a movie. It'd be so much better if it were a movie. So I could see like 20 years from now going back to a show and being like, oh, I dismissed this just because I thought it would have
dragged on.
It didn't need to exist, but like look at the production values, look at the performances. That's what I can see.
I like prestige TV.
This song is by Limahl. Written by Giorgio Moroder, mega composer and songwriter producer. And this was a big hit. It was a top 20 single in America at the time, and then brought back into the zeitgeist a few years ago because of Stranger Things. But we meet our hero, Bastian Balthazar Bucks. And
if they wanted him to have his feet on the ground, why this name? Maybe the mom was the one with all the flights of fancy. It has to be, right? She encouraged his imagination. Business dad drinking orange juice with a milk in it. No, orange juice with an egg, a raw egg in it, blended, is what that motherfucker's drinking. That's how you know he's a monster.
Yeah, because he's like, I don't even have time to make breakfast. I gotta get to my job and make my widgets. Like, time is money. Gotta make stuff. This Bastian is played by Barret Oliver is the name of the actor. He was from Cocoon and the original Frankenweenie. And then the dad is played by Gerald McRaney, who we know from Deadwood, among a million other things.
I knew he looked familiar.
But I can't. This is crazy.
It's over the top business dad, right? Like, is there a meaner dad, Drew, in all of the 80s? I can't think of one.
No, ruthless. Just straight to the point, too. He's like, I miss mom. And he's like, okay, we'll get over it. And we're going to work and you're going to school and you're going to live life. Okay, bud?
Right.
I mean, he literally says, you need to forget about your mom and get to work, son. Get digging.
Forget all about her.
I mean, I wrote a note like, this man definitely killed his wife and he wants his son to stop bringing it up all the time.
Shut up.
You're all uptight about it.
Yeah. Yeah. And then Bastian, because his mom died, this makes him a target for bullies.
I can't handle it.
First, your mom's dead, you're a loser. What?
That's such an 80s trope. There's definitely another couple of examples of like, oh, that's the dead kid. I mean, no wait.
There's that dead kid.
Oh, I'm dead.
No
Everybody
life.
About to be dead.
Get a life. Right, totally. Grow up. I can't. Because he died. Just to go from mean dad to 3 mean boys, we needed 3.
Yeah.
And then mean librarian man, who's kind of nice.
I love that they throw him in a dumpster. He gets out, and they're waiting for him. Like, who said you could get out of the dumpster?
That is thorough. Those are
these kids. They love being evil.
Well,
yeah, I love these bullies.
They're all very unattractive children too. So what else were they going to get cast?
I guess so.
I'm just saying.
So where does he go, Lacey?
I just smell the farts in this bookstore. Like, I know that he's not farting, but like I fucking smell them. So he goes to the crankiest, most unorganized bookstore of all to go hide. And there's no way that those are alphabetical. Did you see the way they're stacked on the shelves?
No.
Vertically.
It's a mess.
Doesn't make sense. Okay. And with their spines facing in. The prop people.
He also literally says, "What are you doing? I don't like kids."
I can smell a kid. You have young farts.
He might have money. You don't know.
No. He just got bullied with the money and the shaking. The only kids that ever come in here are the ones that get bullied, and then he gives them the Neverending Story book, and then they fill up his shelves with books. You see, this man is making a creative factory.
Mm-hmm.
You look like a traumatized boy. Here's a magical book.
Yeah, so he intends to give the book away. Like, when do we think? Does he sees Bastian and right away he's like, here's a target?
Well, he's magical. He's got to be. He's like a grumpy fairy god pooper, right? Like, that's his vibe.
I don't know.
I don't understand his deal either. I mean, he's just been sitting in that chair waiting, reading this book for some reason.
He is reading the book, and Bastian's like, "What are you reading?" And he's like, "You wouldn't like, this is my forbidden book of mystery. You don't want to read it." And he's like, "But I bet I do. It sounds good." He's like, "No, it sucks now.
Master of Psychology.
Don't you pick it up while I step away for a minute."
Biggest book ever, too. Barely fits in his tiny baby jacket.
This guy doesn't like kids. They're always on their phones. You can't get their attention. So
he doesn't even know.
Yeah.
He'd hate it now. He plays hooky inside school. Nice header, Matt. Okay, this is okay. My kid just recently missed a day of school, and then today, right now, they're missing another day of school. And the stress my kid feels from missing work is all I can think about while
Bastion's
I watch.
Dad would approve.
He's already got a call from the math teacher. Not impressed. Needs to get his shit together, but he goes to school. I guess it's the safest place for him to be. I'll bet his house is empty. Why not go there, Bastian? And he goes. He takes the book, and there's no way he's doing a math test. So he remembers there's a haunted attic in this school and goes there to have a delicious sandwich, I'd like to point out. And then he begins reading the book he stole, which is the Neverending Story book. And he's a fast reader.
It is a big book that he makes his way through. It is funny if you're like an author and you're going to write a book within a book. I feel like sort of The Princess Bride does this too, is you have a movie or you have a story, and within the story, somebody's reading a different story that has to be the most like interesting and captivating thing. But now you, the author, are charged with writing that
the most
thing.
Interesting.
So you better make sure it's the most It's actually the most interesting thing.
Which is probably why it's so jarring when Bastian has these big reactions outside of the book. I'm like, Bastian, calm down. I just watched what you're reading, and I'm fine. It is a turtle. It's a turtle. It doesn't deserve this. Oh! That was my impression. All right. Oh, okay. We meet some folks. Don't you kind of feel like they don't do enough with these interesting little guys? I guess it's just to get us to know. We meet this troll-like man. We meet a small leprechaunish type person, a snail, and then the rock guy who always upsets me because he drops so much rocks, and literally any rock that fell out of his mouth could have killed any one of those people. I don't feel like he's a nice guy. I'm just saying. So we're just, oh wow, this world is weird, strange. But they're sad, and their lands are being taken away, and they're gonna go find white people.
They're going to the Empress. She'll help us. This is
in her ivory tower.
Yeah, it's kind of like a greatest hits of fantasy world. I mean, I'd say the main thing is Wizard of Oz, but you have some Lord of the Rings in there.
All I see is Alice in Wonderland.
And Alice in Wonderland, yeah. And this is Deep Roy playing the I guess the Mad Hatter is who he's playing, but he rides his snail.
Is that like a porn name?
That's just his name.
He's been in a couple things, man. Don't sleep on Deep Roy.
No,
I enjoy him.
You were sleeping on Deep Roy, dude.
If I were sleeping on Deep Roy, I'd know it. Thank you.
He's the Oompa Loompas in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
That's his
I know
face.
that.
Okay.
Yeah, he got, and hey, Tim Burton insisted Deep Roy get paid $1 million for that movie.
Oh.
Yeah, good for him. He's like he's playing like 35 characters, so he should.
Oh,
Yeah,
he's every Oompa Loompa.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Mm-hmm.
And he knew in advance that would be one of the most iconic things.
Yeah, he was giving, that's for sure.
That's awesome.
So we go to the ivory tower. We have this is like the Mos Eisley Cantina from Lacey's favorite movie, Star Wars, just in how many creatures are just kind of ambling around in the background. You have like giant head people.
I love those. Those are my favorite. I drew a little picture of one of them. I drew a little picture of the big head tree.
Let's see it.
Oh, okay.
Whoa.
Okay. Anyway, did you find it interesting, like some random Native American appreciation in the 80s? Because I feel like anytime Native Americans were brought up in 80s movies, it was because something was built on top of a burial ground. Like I feel like Native Americans were celebrated in this movie in a way that I just don't remember seeing.
I mean, maybe it's because it's from a German guy.
Oh, okay.
But so he has Bastian. Like, well, they introduce Atreyu by saying he's a member of the people who hunt the purple buffalo, and then we have a cutaway to Bastian reading this, and then he looks like in his backpack, and he has a drawing of a native hunting a buffalo. So that I think that's our first hint that Bastian is seeing stuff in the book that comes like inputs from his world are showing up in the book.
Yeah, in my memory, Bastian joins this reality fully and way earlier, but that's not at all what happens. He doesn't interact with any of the characters until he's with the child bride.
Yeah, he's by himself until like the last 5 minutes. So they found this great warrior Atreyu. He's gonna come help us, but when they meet Atreyu, he's just some dumb kid.
But he sent for him. How could it be a kid if I sent for you?
We thought Atreyu was a brave, noble warrior, not some shit-eating kid. And he's like, well, I don't have to help you. I'll go hunt the buffalo. And they're like, no, you'll do. I
like kid empowerment. I give it points here. And that hair is Pantene perfect. He has the shiniest brown hair. I want to smell it.
I would have bet anything before I saw this movie. I was certain that Atreyu has to also be played by the actor who plays Bastian. It has to be the same.
Also my memory, and it was wrong.
Yeah, which I'm glad that it's two different people. I like that part of it.
Drew, did you remember it was two different guys?
I actually couldn't remember. I thought maybe it was the same guy because I couldn't remember how like the fantasy and the real world got intertwined and combined. So I honestly was kind of up in the air going back into it.
And it's interesting how they introduce that Bastian from the outside world can be heard in this world really kind of early in the story. And then there just seems to be like a huge gap of him not interacting at all in the reality of the book. Because it's the when he gets scared by the turtle, the world's scariest creature, the turtle.
Yeah, that's it.
A big turtle.
It's a big fucking turtle.
No, but there's stuff like Atreyu eats when Bastian eats, and characters go to sleep when Bastian goes to sleep.
But that's because the book is reminding him to do those things.
But I think it's him. He does these things, and they precede the characters doing these things.
Incorrect. The horse is fed an apple, which is what makes him think to have lunch and eat that delicious sandwich that has purple inside. I'm guessing jelly. A jelly.
Later has an apple though.
True.
It looks mighty fine.
Randomly, that is the crispest apple.
Oh, it looks nice.
It's nice. Like a good Granny Smith.
Yeah.
So they tell Atreyu, like, you can go find the cure, leave all your weapons behind. You have to go by yourself.
I wrote down a list.
Go by a list of what?
Fucking list. This poor goddamn kid. Hold on. The man with the pointy hair. I'm not talking about you, Drew. I'm talking about the man. He has no idea what the fuck's going on, but he says that this is the only advice anyone can give you. How does he know that? And then he proceeds to tell the kid that you must go alone. You must leave all your weapons here. And don't fuck up because of everything that you will ruin if you do. That is horrible advice. And he's the only one that can give it. He made that up on the fly. I know.
Yeah, he's not.
Don't shit a shitter. Okay? I make up things all the time.
He's not setting him up for success.
That is the worst pep talk I've ever heard in my life. But maybe it's just a metaphor for how that the kid who's reading the book feels, how he's not prepared for the world. His mom has been taken away, and it's just, you know what? Give me everything that comforts you.
Figure it out.
Give me all your shit. Fuck you. Now, don't ruin your life.
That is exactly.
You're ruining our home life. You're being a real bummer.
Not going to give you any tools to.
I hate when I talk myself into liking something I don't originally.
See, this is good.
Damn it. All right.
This is good. Lacey, when I watch movies with Lacey that she doesn't she's not into. She's like very just a lot of groaning and then a lot of like slapping things. A lot of slamming her hand on the sofa.
He wears noise canceling headphones while we're watching the movie, so he can't hear. He can only hear the movie, and he also has a condition which means he can't turn his neck. So this is very inconvenient for me, who needs lots of attention when I'm annoyed. So I just kind of do a lot of like throw it like I'm getting into his peripheral. I'm upset until he takes his little thing out and listens to me. I like when you take your little thing out.
I know you do.
Oh wait. The one time I didn't mean a double entendre. It was a good one. All right. Go on with your bullshit.
I will. Mm-hmm. So they give Atreyu the Oren, this great amulet thing he has to wear around his neck. Yes. And it will guide him in his journey.
It serves no fucking purpose.
I don't remember what it does, if it does anything.
It looks hella fly.
It does look good.
It looks hella fly. It's it's a snake eating itself. Which is this book.
It never ends, man. Okay. You who knows all things.
Oh no.
I am obsessed with this set piece. Is this a set? I mean, obviously it's not a swamp. They didn't go to Florida for this.
No, this is inside of Bavaria Studios in Munich.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Doesn't it look so good?
It looks so amazing.
And I kept writing down like, oh, I bet this was so fun. I bet this is no. And then I think about it a little longer and I'm like, this must be where the kid torture comes in. Is this where they torture the actor who plays this boy?
You're focusing too much on that. They just put this kid through the ringer. They made him, he has to do all this shit. They're throwing him around, swim through all the mud, climb the trees. He had to learn to ride a horse forever, get blown around in the air, get on this big puppet. Yeah, he has to do a lot of stuff. And again, most of the movie, he's not talking to another human being.
I was going to say, I never quite thought about the loneliness, but I guess it helps him kind of hone in his character. He is an adventurer, a warrior all by himself. And
well, just in terms of difficulty, okay, Noah Hathaway is the actor. All right, Noah, now scream like you're very scared. And he's like, but he's not reacting to any other actor, so he doesn't know what level of like energy to give.
He only has this level.
Yeah, so of course that's what it's going to sound like. Well, okay. So the most famous scene in the movie is the death of Artax the horse. And this was, filmed on a soundstage. They have hydraulic lifts that lower and raise the horse. And they said they had to train horses for months because you just have to, a horse when it gets lowered into water is like, hey, I'm just going to get out of the water. And so they have to teach the horses, no, stay in the water. And so they had to keep doing that forever. They do this with lots of horses, but I mean, you can't deny this is magic. By using this real animal, and I guess it's good that they wouldn't do this to a real horse today. They'd just have a CGI horse, but you lose some of that magic.
Oh, like the desperate face that horse is making in its last moments when Atreyu is pulling the shit out of his face, and all you see is like,
that's what's so great about it.
I'm trying to get out of this hole. I'm gonna miss you.
Yeah.
He didn't fight the sadness hard enough.
He's a stupid horse.
Because he's walking through the swamps of sadness and he's giving into depression. Now in the book, Artax talks. Oh. So guys, I just want to read a passage from the book.
Oh, good.
You can fucking cry.
Go on, man.
So Artax says, with every step we take, the sadness grows in my heart. I've lost hope, master, and I feel so heavy. I can't go on. But we must go on, cried Atreyu. Come along, Artax. He tugged at the bridle, but Artax stood still. He had sunk up to his belly and made no further effort to extricate himself. Artax, you mustn't let yourself go. Come on, pull yourself up or you'll sink. Leave me, master, said the little horse. I can't make it. Go on alone. Don't bother about me. I can't stand the sadness anymore. I want to die.
Jesus.
And then he dies.
Germans, am I right?
I know.
God.
Holy shit.
Okay, is anyone else though a little bit confused with the message? I know it's like the most literal metaphor ever, and it's literally don't let the sadness, but aren't you allowed to be sad if your mom dies? I don't understand what they're saying about Bastian here.
I can't let it overcome you though. Like you can be sad about your mom for sure, and you'll have bad days, you'll have good days, but if you let that sadness overcome your entire being, then you're no longer who you're supposed to be, and you no longer have a life anymore.
There's healthy ways to deal with it. You don't need to to go through the swamps of sadness. You go to the swamp of a therapist.
Maybe I feel like they jumped into the fantasy story a little too quickly then, because maybe I need to spend more time with Bastian to see, like, is he letting this sadness ruin his life, or is he just trying to have breakfast and his dad's a dick? Like,
I know you have to just project these things,
right?
I do think that
I guess the teacher, right? He's not doing well in school, but it's like people who lose their parents do have a dip in school. That's what therapy's for. That's what talking it out with your other parent
not in the
could
80s.
help do. Okay, not just come on.
But as far
his
as
dad sucks, we all know that, so he ain't taking Bastian to therapy.
But Drew, as far as like the death of the horse, this stuck with you when you were a kid. You remembered it as an adult. How did you experience it as an adult?
As an adult, I wasn't expecting it to be so soon. I kind of felt the same. I was like, I need more connection, at least more connection with Atreyu and Artax to like get that connection of loss, at least for Atreyu's standpoint. But at the same time, I still did feel I didn't cry. I thought I was gonna cry. I didn't cry quite, but I still did get really close to it, and I feel like the real horse really does sell it, because you see the fear in the horse's eyes,
face.
and then Atreyu's actor can like feed off of the horse, and he himself is getting sad, producing real tears for us. And yes, he is screaming at 1,000,000%, but like, yeah, he really does. I mean, dude, if a horse is drowning in front of you, you can't do anything about it. I mean, that'd be so upsetting. So I still felt the scene hit, but I didn't think it hit as much as it could if this would have happened a little later on, like maybe after the turtle, maybe they get to the turtle and then it happens or something.
Right, like have that horse get him through some stuff emotionally. In a few scenes, show me the camaraderie a little more, rather than that very romantic wake him up in a meadow, give him an apple.
No, I
nuzzle his nipple.
You need to invest a little more in the relationship, but they do sell it. And they said everybody on set was crying. The actress who played the childlike empress, this was her first day on set. And they're like, you want to go watch a scene being filmed, little girl? And she's like, sure. She watches this. Oh my God.
Don't worry, we're saving the swamp set for your scene.
Do a good job in the movie.
Oh God.
Okay. We meet Morla, the ancient one, the giant turtle.
I do not recall why this is the place that Atreyu has to go to get his next clue. It's basically just a big scavenger hunt. So look for the cranky hill. So he goes and does that. It turns out it's a turtle. And I gotta say, I feel for the ancient one. What a boring life. She hasn't talked to anyone in 1,000 years, and the first person she does is screaming at her the whole time, telling her stuff she already knows, and she's allergic. Why would she care? Why would she care if the whole world is dying? She serves the purpose of a hill in a sadness swamp. What kind of life is this? I can't see someone like this being super motivated to, we must rescue all that I have here in this wonderful kingdom of sleeping for 1,000 years. Anyway, and she's not impressed with Atreyu, doesn't seem to want to help, and but does give him his next clue. This movie is an escape room. And he unlocks the clue. So he needs to go to the Southern Oracle, 10,000 miles away. But he's so dirty.
But she's like letting the nothing overtake her too, which, makes sense because she's a hill.
And lives in a sadness swamp.
Yes.
Right.
So, yeah, the nuclear war is coming. There's nothing I can do to stop it.
So she stands for complacency. So the way you look when the nothing is overtaken you, but you're so overlooked that you haven't even been consumed by it. You've just become part of the scenery. Damn, that's deep. I talked myself into another scene. Shit.
I can't even care that I don't care, she says.
I love all of her lines.
She also looks incredible. This is such a good.
This is though when I realized his infatuation for moving noses on creatures. Once you see that the noses never stop moving, you can't unsee it. This and in the flying dog dragon. Just a constant.
It's true. I did notice with all the puppets, all the puppeteering was done in German. So the dubbing doesn't match at all.
Okay, because the tongue moving, then I can forgive it. That makes sense.
But the actors most of the actors are speaking in English. I don't know what the practice was in Germany at the time. Like Das Boot, no actual audio was filmed on set.
Oh, wow.
With this, I don't know how much of the audio was recorded on set. A lot of it is dubbed by the actors later. But like Atreyu especially sounds like very disembodied.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It just always seemed very echoey, very alone. And so having all this in an actual set on a soundstage kind of works for this movie because it is supposed to be a vacuum. It's supposed to be confound to this book and this vacant world full of nothing.
Yeah.
So the echoing always seemed intentional. Don't you feel like he echoed?
Yeah. Back in Bastion's attic where there's a fucking werewolf.
There's a werewolf head on a stick. When would that be needed in middle school? I can see in high school. But middle school?
Again, it's Germany.
Oh, Germany. Okay. Yes, Bastion is overreacting to the book. I'm going to talk myself into this again. God damn it. He is in a dank, scary attic. It's not like the school is a very comforting place. There seems to be no comforting adults in his life at all. And his teacher is clearly a backstabbing little snitch, as we learned from the first scene. So he's hiding and wants to go into his imagination with this big giant book that he stole. And the only way he can do it is in the scariest place he could think of. But he's being brave. He's staying in there. He even leaves and then comes back and he's like, no, what would Atreyu do?
Mm-hmm.
So this book, because he's so compelled to read it, is giving him the strength to put his pussy down and pick his big boy. No, don't say big boy dick. Oh. And pick his dick up. I've got little boy nipples behind me and I just said big boy dick.
What kind of podcast is this? What are we doing here? Come on.
It's not it's a German one. This is in Germany. This is how you talk.
Honestly, not very different from what we normally do.
Okay. In my memory, when we get to meet Falkor,
mm-hmm.
the dog dragon, that is like that's when this all turns around. That's like in Dumb and Dumber when they find the money and then all of a sudden the movie's a romp. And that doesn't happen. I mean, even the nice people this boy gets to meet. Now, number one, the luck dragon clearly likes this boy as more than a friend. That upsets me. Number two, he insinuates that he's got other friends, and then he goes and looks in the little, Atreyu goes and looks in the little cottage, and there's like a super funny little old goblin couple talking their shit to each other, which reminds me of me and you. I love it. But they're not super into him either. I mean, I guess they're just. I thought it would turn into It's a Small World, and like all of a sudden
everyone loves Atreyu.
Yeah,
but it doesn't.
He's
so
been through so much. No, but I did enjoy the banter of the I don't know what those guys are, but the husband and wife team. There's something very soothing about Falkor's voice, but also it would have had a German actor to begin with. Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah, just doing the voice.
Okay, but that's a big deal. Like, and maybe it's the same way how some dubbed anime movies just don't feel like the voice actor they chose for America is like really hitting the vibes that the actual character is putting off. So I guess he just seems a little too playful for me, or like too happy.
Very happy.
He's happy
but nothing.
He's happy-go-lucky, and then as soon as there's a little bit of rain, he's like, "Fuck! I'll try you. Did you go on the beach? I'm in the ocean for some reason." So I'm just saying it's fake. He's not this chill. So I see you, Falkor. But he seems very helpful. He flew most of the way. And I do feel this might be the origin of my tryptophobia. Because when I get it. This is a beautiful puppet. But when I saw the beaded scales close up, I gagged multiple times.
Yeah,
Drew,
she did.
Do you have tryptophobia, Drew?
What is that?
Okay.
Not everyone in the world knows this made-up word?
It's not made up. It's made up. But lots of people have it. It is a grotesque reaction or disgust for organic things that have bubbles or holes super close together. It specifically has to do with live objects. So like beehives, coral reef.
Okay.
It's thought to have like evolved in some people because it would have in nature, if you see little tiny holes developing on your body, it means you've got the plague or you've got some sort of pox. Or that's the theory, is that certain people are repulsed by it because usually it means disease. And I'm saying Falcor's back is full of disease.
Well, they figured out on the internet that like some people just react to this and some people don't. Right. And before Lacey knew about this, I just pulled up a picture of of something on my phone, and I was like, "Hey, what do you think of this?" And she swatted my phone away. So it's like, I guess you have it, because I don't feel anything when I look at this.
And it was a seed pod.
Pod,
yeah.
And so Falcor's scales gave you that reaction.
I mean, I had to stop looking. I could only look him right in the face.
Most of what you see is just his cute face.
He is a sweet little man. Okay.
He's got a big old face.
It's one of the most impressive puppets, like, in movie
he
history.
Looks so soft. The eyes. That's
his eye. Yeah, his eyes. His eyes are so
soulful.
Nice and greeting. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
it's alive.
And they didn't do the thing where they make it to look like too much like a human child with big white eyes in addition to the color part. But it's super darked out the way an actual animal's. You see more of the iris on an animal, and they kept that here.
Yeah.
But it's got laugh lines. That's what makes it so warm and inviting. You can tell that dragon laughs.
And just broken record, but this is a physical object in the camera. It casts a shadow. You feel like you can go touch it because you could. I mean, why do people love Baby Yoda? Because he's an actual puppet. He's not CGI. Let's see. Credit some people. Ulderico was the chief creature designer. Giuseppe Tortora was the animatronics engineer. Good job, guys.
I think this whole thing was Jim Henson.
Nice.
No Jim Henson.
I just assumed.
That was the Dark Crystal.
Oh, okay. Oh, competing battle puppets.
Yeah.
I'd play that game.
Lacey mentioned the elf people who apparently remind her of me and her. She likes injecting people with weird potions, and he likes looking in his telescope, just like us.
You like doing your science.
Yeah, I do. I do my little experiments by myself. But they're helping Atreyu. You have to get to the Southern Oracle, and that means you have to go past these Sphinx statues that if they see you will shoot you with their laser beams. But
I mean, this movie is set up like a board game, right? It's like Candyland. It's just each stop gives. I don't have much of a relationship with you or even much of a conversation, but you will point me to the next thing that I have to do. It's a scavenger hunt.
It's very questy. And even like the narrator will be like, well, they went on lots of adventures, but after all that, they arrived here.
Right.
So you are just seeing like the major stops along the way. But Atreyu makes it past the Sphinx, the famous large-breasted sphinxes, and he gets to this mirror. He's like in an Arctic tundra.
I feel like you really passed by one of the most kind of what I feel like it was a suspenseful scene when I was a child. Is like, will he or won't he have enough confidence in himself to get past the Sphinx's eyes? I mean, I can't think of a more intimidating criteria to be able to pass a test is how do you feel about you? Because I think anyone, no matter how damaged, most people think they feel pretty okay about themselves until they start thinking about it.
Yeah.
And it's like, nothing's going to make me think I don't love myself more than when the goddamn eyes open.
Yes.
And they open!
The elf man is yelling at him, and Bastion.
I'm acting like Atreyu with my screaming. I'm sorry. I went from 6 to 45. I'm sorry.
Like, be confident, loser. You can do it. And
don't be sad. Be confident. If you're not, fake it. Nipples. It's just a weird message. You don't get to have your boy nipples, but she's got her lady nipples, and those are definitely implants.
Yeah, maybe if he showed some nipple, the eyes wouldn't have opened.
The nipple is the third eye, is what I'm trying. It's like, I'm wide awake, statue. Nothing to see here.
But he does it. He finds his inner confidence. I never thought Atreyu lacked confidence. He seemed pretty confident, and he gets past it. And then there's I think this is a really good scene. It's very, very creepy with the music and everything of him looking.
And you notice the mirror is an eyeball. Is that obvious to everybody else? That's an eye with eyelashes that are wilted. Does that not look like an eye? The mirror?
Yeah, a little bit. I can see the eyelashes for sure.
Yeah. Like Snuffleupagus.
Oh, it is, yeah.
Snuffleupagus, where they like hang.
Yeah.
Droopy doopy movie kind of eyes.
And then, he sees in the mirror, he can see Bastion. They can see each other. We are each other. This reminded me of Last Jedi when Rey goes into the cave and sees the infinite mirrors.
Which I like.
I like it too.
Okay. Actually, Drew, you do this slide. I'm sick of it. Take it away.
Okay, here we go. Okay, so we're at the Southern Oracle, and we get to see some more big titty statues, which everyone is all aboard on that. And then we see, the Empress needs a new name. Right, I found that interesting. That all that's needed to fix everything is a new name. We just need to give her a new name.
Or like they just didn't have. Did it feel like a cop out? Like they just didn't have any ideas?
I don't know.
The reader have to give some of yourself over to this.
And then, but that's why I like, because as soon as they said that, they cut away to Bastian, and Bastian was like, "Oh man, my mom had a beautiful name." So you see that connection with it like right away, you know?
Yeah.
I immediately yelled, "Karen!" But that's not her name, right?
No, the name he yells is Moonchild, which presumably was not his mother's name.
What?
Yeah, I don't know. That's from the book, but in the book it's explained.
Okay. This is why Dad hated hippie mom. She's a hippie dippy loser, and she's dead.
Yeah.
We're all happy she's dead.
No, he's in Reagan's America. She was stuck in the 60s.
Like, I killed her so that you could get a job, son. Stop thinking about it. All right, sorry, Drew. I won't interrupt.
But the only person that can give her this name is a human child. And then they also talk about the boundaries of Fantasia and how they need to go past the boundaries of Fantasia and to get to this human child. And then the statues start crumbling because Fantasia is crumbling because people don't want to read books. They don't want to dream. He says no one dreams anymore, and everyone's too busy looking at their phones, being distracted, getting lost in other shit, but they can't internalize, and imagine anything anymore. So everything starts to crumble because our boy Bastian needs to save Fantasia.
Right.
I think I like the way you put that because if it does sound trite to be like, you got to read more books, but if it's like, if we do think about our modern world, and I'm always distracted. I'm always listening to something in my headphones. I've never let myself sit alone and quiet. And I don't spend much time just sort of listening to my inner voice or whatever, or really processing anything. I'm a broken person is what I'm saying. So I need to,
aren't we all?
Pay closer attention.
Broken,
yes. And then so he's like, well, let's go find.
Someone just had a drone camera, right? That's why this exists. Like, look what we can do.
No, they had just invented blue screen, really. That's why this whole section looks like an Epcot ride, because it is just the puppet head in front of a blue screen, and they're just playing, landscapes and blowing like a fan on him. And he's like, whoa, there's mountains and volcanoes.
But given everything else, I'll bet this was a fun day of filming.
Yeah, probably.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. They didn't have to blast him with actual snow or fire.
Was that actual snow? That was an actual snow.
No, an actual fire and molten ash and stuff.
Context clues.
Yeah, they're just kind of flying over all of Fantasia, and the Falcor's like, Atreyu.
You should have dropped presents with that ho-hoing.
Yes. And finally they find Gamork, the evil wolf monster who's been
scary.
A
lurking looming threat this whole movie.
He seems kind of chill with Atreyu though at first.
I like it. I like their confrontation. Because he's like, you
Gamork and Gamindi.
You don't even know what you're looking for, you piece of shit. Fantasia has no boundaries. It's all bullshit.
A big tittied oracle gave him wrong information, I'd like to point out. When a statue is 40 feet tall, you listen.
I mean, presentation is important. Oh, I forgot to mention that Atreyu, he falls off of Falcor because the nothing is coming, and they visualize the nothing by just having weird clouds and stuff.
I love the clouds in the opening scene. I did want to say in the credits, there's just beautiful cloud formations. I guess it's just someone had some footage.
It's the something. It knocks Atreyu off of Falcor. They get separated, and Atreyu sees the rock eater giant, who he himself has become depressed, and he's like, it's just as well. I'll just die. It's fine.
His big, strong John Goodman hands.
I was going to say, I loved that line of how he was like, I have such big, strong hands, and even I couldn't hold on to my dearest friends. Even they succumbed to the nothing. And I was like, damn, bro, what are we doing?
Well, and the self-doubt, right? Because he's like, they look strong, don't they? Like his thing that he believes so much about himself, his one thing that he's made of rock and that rock are strong. He had to ask a small child if it's true still. Don't they?
I'm gonna cry. That's so sad.
This is gonna be like the time you really thought about what the song "Let It Go" meant, and you listened to it in the car over and over again. You cry. Is this gonna happen? We're gonna
don't air my laundry.
Okay, I'm sorry.
But Atreyu like walks through this, ruined palace, which has murals on the wall that show the journey he's been on. It's like the universe is folding in on itself, and he meets Gamork, meets the wolf, and they talk to each other, and the wolf's like, the Fantasia has no boundaries. You're not going to find somebody from outside of the world. This world is all there is. To believe in nothing, man. Gamork looks really good. I think of all the puppets, he's probably the stiffest in terms of movement. But Atreyu kills the wolf, and finally makes his way to Falkor finds him, and they're flying through the sky, and like Fantasia's been reduced. It's just meteors flying through space. But the ivory tower is still intact. It's on a moon rock, and Atreyu lands there, and we finally meet the childlike empress.
There's some kind of uncanny valley thing with her, though. Like I feel like I'm looking at an adult, but it's a child. There's something too beautiful, too perfect. I've always felt this way about this actress. It's just she's otherworldly. I get that's the point.
That is, yes, that's why it's good.
But now in our day now, we have toddlers and tiaras and dance moms. So there's also something overly dressed up about her, like what's her name, Benet?
John
Benet. There's something like sad about the overdoneness. Anyway.
Tami Stronach is the name of the actress, and she was a ballerina, and then and she's the only of the children who's interviewed for this Blu-ray feature, and she's like speaking to you from her dance studio that she runs for little children ballerinas.
She seems very stage mom,
but it's good.
It is good.
The way she looks, the way that she talks is very otherworldly, and she's like, Atreyu, you've actually done everything you needed to do. You brought the human with you. He's been with you all along. And in fact, there are people watching him right now, just worlds upon worlds. They're talking about us. And this is kind of like Lord of the Rings in Frodo, spoiler alert for Lord of the Rings. Frodo goes to the top of Mount Doom to throw the ring in, and then decides not to. The ring overtakes him. But then Gollum comes and attacks him, and the ring ends up destroyed anyway, even though Frodo succumbed to the evil at the end. He did enough. He got himself close enough. And the point was, you got yourself there. You did it. Even if at the end you faltered.
Perfection, right? It's not perfection.
You did everything you needed to do.
Also maybe a metaphor for creative people who maybe who doubt their creativity, or doubt that it's enough, doubt that it's something anyone would care about. Is this important? Do we need another this or that in the world? And I think it's saying you are enough. This is the thing that you've produced is going to add to the world's beauty. Yes. Don't make me talk myself into stuff.
You might think this is a silly adventure movie for kids, a silly fantasy story, but that's what we need.
We need a little
Everybody.
silly right now. But you should also go to your math class. Get out of the attic. You're now trespassing. School hours are over.
Bastion has always been, he's part of the Neverending Story. And all he has to do is say her name. So he's like, all right, I will, Moonchild.
It takes him forever to say the name.
Say the name, Bastion.
God, just say it.
But he gets sucked in. Now Fantasia is destroyed, save for one tiny grain of sand. But it's okay. He can rebuild everything with his imagination.
One grain of sand and an entire empress. Just saying.
She's still there. It's true.
Okay.
And then the second half of the book is all about him rebuilding Fantasia, but eventually just like settling petty grievances by recreating things, being like, well, I'm the best. I'm the champion. And then like Atreyu's like, you kind of suck now. And he's like, I'll kill you, Atreyu. And he does. And then finally has to bring him back. But yeah, so he rebuilds everything. He can rebuild all of Fantasia, and then he decides, I'm going to recreate my bullies and attack them with my dragon. And then the narrator's like, Atreyu or Bastion had some adventures, but we'll tell you about them next time. That's it. That's the
it.
End
Really
of the
does
movie.
End kind of abruptly. Like, nothing more to see here. He kind of went off the fucking rails.
Yeah. That makes sense that there's a whole second part to this story now, because that's what I always thought this ending was so loose cannon. I was like, oh, it's going good, and then it's like, oh, and then this and they all went off, and then I'll see you later.
Right.
Like, oh shit. Okay.
See you later.
Dope.
Nothing more to
He's
see
still
here.
in the attic though. Does he ever get out?
Right.
Is he alive?
Right. And there's no moment where he reconnects with his dad at all. Like the dad never comes back, and he's just like.
Yeah, so the book also has the wrinkle that like every wish he makes in Fantasia makes him forget a part of his human self.
Oh.
So eventually he has no connection at all to his humanity. Oh. And then the book concludes with him being like having some of his memories restored and allowing him to go back, and he goes back and reconnects with his dad. And then he goes to the bookstore and he's like, Mr. Book Guy, you gave me a book and made me go into Book World. And he's like, what book? I've never had a book. But then he's like, actually, I have been to Fantasia. Now you will bring other people to Fantasia.
And you will be the page master.
It is kind of like the page master.
I've never seen it.
And then he just dusts off in the end.
Oh, he does it.
Right. Like, passes the book. He's like, I'm no longer a part of this.
Right. It's your
off to
farts
Fantasia.
now.
Yeah.
And then enjoy the mortgage.
Thank you, Bastion.
He was a big ornery genie stuck in the lamp of a bookstore. If only someone would wish me free.